Fox Sports fans, welcome back to the channel. We got an absolutely banger interview for you guys tonight. Like I said last week, we took a little bit of a break with it being Thanksgiving. You know how the holidays are, guys. It gets hella busy. We had Milky Cost on, who's fighting next week at UFC Vegas 112. Tonight, we got the number 15 bantamweight contender, Marcus McGhee, joining us. Marcus has been following me for a little bit. We've had a few of his teammates on here: Trayshawn Gore, Kyler Phillips, Markel Maderos. Shout out to those guys. So this has been an interview, long time in the coming, folks. It's good to finally get Marcus here on camera. I will say to Marcus before we get going, Marcus, I appreciate you following me before even coming on the channel. That makes stuff a lot easier on me and communicating with me before it's even made it happen. So thank you so much, brother, for the chance, and can't wait to talk about some awesome things tonight.
Yeah, man. Yeah, when I saw you on my guys, I was like, let me go ahead and follow him too. I'm sure I'm gonna jump in there with him as well too, and chop it up too. So man, once Kyler shouted me out, I was like, oh man, now I gotta jump on here. And it's been good, man. So it's been good to watch you do your thing. So
I appreciate that. And Marcus is such a nice guy, guys. I mean, a lot of these dudes, it's really tough to, if you can't get them on the channel, sometimes they don't even look at your messages, or it takes like weeks and months to look at. Marcus has always communicated with me, though, guys. Even though it's taken a little bit to get him on here, Marcus has always communicated with me. So, Marcus, that means a lot to me. It shows the type of person you are, brother. But we're going to start with tonight. I always ask every single, interview that we start with the most important question to think, in my opinion, how are you and your family currently doing, brother?
oh, blessed constantly, man. I appreciate the question. Yeah, blessed, man. Health, abundance, man, love, all the things that matter most, are those T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. So super blessed for sure.
Let's go, man. Especially this time of year, it's good to hear that the family's doing well. Got Thanksgiving just last week, Christmas coming up. If the family's in a good spot going into the holidays, it's probably going to be a good 2 month stretch for you. So I love to hear that. Love to hear the McGee's are doing fantastic. But Marcus, we are coming to the end of 2025. You did step in there earlier this year against Peter Yan, who at the time of this interview is fighting tomorrow night for the bantamweight title against Marab. I just want to ask you now, man, you did unfortunately lose a unanimous decision to him, but on all three judges' scorecards, you won the first round. You won the first round, 10-9. It's out there. Everybody that watched that fight knows you won the first round clearly, not even up for debate. So knowing that and having Peter in that title fight tomorrow night against Marab, and I know you're at the number 15 spot now in the bantamweight division, might take a few fights to get a title shot, but does that give you any sort of confidence going into 2026, knowing that you took a round off Peter Yan and had a pretty competitive fight? I know it was unanimous decision, but anybody that watched the fight knows that, you were still in there. It wasn't an ass whooping by any means or anything like that. So does that give you any sort of confidence, though, of going back to that fight earlier this year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like the same confidence, but it definitely just reaffirms the fact that like I can compete with the best guys in the world on any given night. And I do have that skill set to be there and also to win these fights too. Like you said, I won the first round, and then I think that, the second round went to him. And then the third round, we both didn't really fight the way I would think we would fight, and he took a smart route and, I took the easy way out easy as well. So I do think that, looking back on that fight, there's a lot of great things to take away from it. And there's a lot of good things to take away that, about myself from that fight. So definitely more confident still going into these next fights. Looking forward to, getting into the bag and, continuing to show how deep the bag is. So it was a dope experience. But now I got to go out there and get these W's in those same situations.
For sure, man. I think, whenever I was going to ask you that question, I thought that's probably what you would say right there. Just being at that 15 spot, for some of these guys in the UFC, they just bitch so much about where they're at in the rankings. But for you, like knowing that you were in there with Peter Yan, you had a pretty good performance, winning that first round. That has to give you great confidence going into 2026. And we can't wait to see you back in there. I know it's probably going to be early on in 2026. So that does lead me to my next question for you. When are you expecting to get back into the octagon in 2026?
Yeah, I was shooting for that. I really wanted to be on that January 24th card. Anything could still happen. Uh, But obviously, January 24th and 31st are kind of filling up, and I'm not really trying to go out to Australia, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of things that come and going out there on short notice that I'm really not looking forward to doing. So, hopefully February, I think is perfect. We're about 8, 9 weeks out, so hopefully I'll hear some news coming up after this weekend, and we can get a name, we can get a camp set up, and we can go out there and do what we do. Because yeah, that's I just want to keep racking them up. You know what I'm saying? Keep racking them up and keep moving forward toward that goal of getting a championship, and just, keep on showing that I'm improving and that I'm just getting better each day.
Absolutely, man. And I knew you'd probably want to be fighting early 2026. I think the UFC still has to unveil a few fight cards in February. I think right now they're doing an Apex card at the beginning of the month, and then they're going to Mexico, I believe, from what I've saw from reports. I'm assuming they're probably going to hit the ground running pretty quick though, and they're probably going to fill out a few more cards in between that Mexico and the Apex card. So hopefully we can get somewhere on February, man. But it's like you said, I've had a lot of American guys come on here, and the land down under, man, they take a lot of your money. Apparently, a
Yeah.
lot of taxes come out, and the time difference is just crazy. It
Yeah.
can really be jet laggy for an American to go over there and fight. So you're not the first guy that's come on here and said that. I know if it was me in my position, I definitely wouldn't go over there and fight either. No offense to the fans down under, they always bring it. Absolutely electric crowds, but for me personally, probably couldn't do it, especially if I was a ranked guy. So no hate there, Marcus, but hopefully we get some fight news coming up. We'll get you on again before that fight. But do you have any goals that you have for yourself specifically inside the UFC and just in life in general in 2026 that you already have?
And for 2026 in particular, I'd like to get another win streak going. Whether or not it comes to me getting to that top contender spot or getting a title shot, I'm not necessarily looking at that as like the next step, for sure. But I'd like to get another win streak going. Face off against these tough guys, so many tough guys in the division. And just build my skill set, and then eventually do make it to the belt. That's the highest achievement in the sport, is to claim a UFC title. And even though that's not my main goal, like that's a goal because that fulfills a lot of different other goals, because honestly, to be honest, I think most fighters would say the same thing. Just because you've been a UFC champion doesn't mean that you're the best. It means that at that moment you were the best in the world at that moment and claim that title at that moment, which is a huge accomplishment. But the world keeps spinning, you know what I'm saying? So that's just one of my many goals. Other goals would be to drop my merch brand, my merch brand again. I'm looking forward to doing that 2026. I'm really vamping out on my merch brand and getting some skateboards going and some other skate apparel going, and start pushing more into those type of things too, because like finally got my feet back under me on my skateboard, so it's been real cool to be out there. And not only would I like to kind of press into that and have passion to press into just the skateboard industry in particular and that culture, but also just want to press into like all the guys that don't have skateboards, that don't have all the coolest stuff, don't have the wheels and all these extra things, don't have the push or the platforms, and be able to give those guys platforms and help those guys achieve their goals as well. So definitely looking forward to doing that 2026 as well. And then another thing would be just to take my family somewhere really cool 2026. You know what I'm saying? Go make some experiences. I have a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, 12-year-old, and 10-year-old. So they're all getting a lot older. And I want to make sure that I'm appreciating the time that we're in right now, even though it's hectic and we're at the pinnacle of our career and all these extra things like that. I think that you have to take care of home first constantly. And that tends to show a lot of fruit in anything else that you do.
Absolutely. And I think that last line you just said right there is very cool because Markel came on here a few weeks ago and he talked about if you got bad shit going on outside the gym and outside the octagon, you can't fight good. He was very outspoken about that. So that's cool that you guys got the same message right there. That was really dope because I'm about to ask about them coming up here. But no, man, that sounds like an awesome 2026. Definitely with you fighting early on, hopefully, you could absolutely build 2, 3 fight win streak going into 2027, hopefully. A life's too short to not be able to travel and go experience awesome things. Sounds like your kids are at the age now too, where if you do take them somewhere, they're going to remember that, the rest of their life, and they'll have that core memory of going on that vacation. So very, very cool. Hopefully it's an awesome 2026 for you, Marcus. Can't wait to see what happens, man. But we did just bring up some of the lab guys. So I'm not going to come on here. You're not going to come on here. We're not going to not talk about the guys we've had on here before because I know they're your boys. So, what's it like being around Trayshawn Gore, Kyler Phillips, and Markel Maderos, just from like a training perspective and being able to have that friendship? Because I know especially you and Kyler do a lot of content together. You guys put out a lot of hilarious reels. So what's it like just being around those guys on like a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, it's dope. It's dope to be surrounded by iron that I can sharpen my iron against, not just inside the gym, but like on an intellectual level as well, on the faith level, and it's so crazy how each one of them sharpen me in those areas in different ways, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty valuable as well to have so many different guys that sharpen you in so many different ways and hold you accountable in ways that they probably don't even realize. But yeah, I'm super blessed and thankful to be around the group that I've been around, and it's so crazy because I've been able to be around a lot of these guys for so many years. Me and Kyler were really good friends long before either of us were in the UFC. When we were amateurs still. Who would have known that we would still be such good boys now and have went through so much, and he would just be having his first kid and all this extra stuff. So man, it's pretty cool to be able to be around those type of guys, and yeah, they keep me sharp, man.
That's sick, man. Like I said, it's always cool to hear from the fighter's perspective of, how they view these other guys that have come on here. That's one of my favorite things I have to ask every time. So I was telling Marcus this off camera, guys. It's pretty obvious at this point. The lab is definitely at the top level of where we want to go next year. We got a lot of huge plans in place. And I think the lab, if we don't go to the MMA lab next year, we're just missing out on some really cool shit. So hopefully we make it out there to see Marcus and the boys. I think we make some fantastic content together. But Marcus, to be a little bit more serious now, you did just mention that, you guys are all boys. You guys get along well. You obviously train, iron sharpens iron, but you said it's faith-based as well. And I know you're a big guy on your faith. So I want to ask you now, with me being a fellow Christian myself, what does your faith mean to you, man?
Yeah, man, everything. You know what I'm saying? My identity is found in Christ, and it's taken me a long time to be able to say that and to feel that conviction and to understand what that really means. And again, I'm still growing so much, and I have a lot of great mentors around me and great guys at the church, great pastors around that have really stewarded my heart and my mind and helped me out in so many different ways. But faith, you know what I'm saying? Like it's my relationship revolves around it, my relationship with my children, and the fruit that has been built off of keeping the type of mentality that is trying to stay focused on what Jesus has for me, really pushes me in so many different ways. It really pushes me to try not to live for worldly things, try not to overvalue worldly things, even a position like the number 15 guy in the world, because everything in this life is fleeting. And though the Lord's not saying, hey, don't chase anything, don't do anything out there, it is also saying, hey, don't dwell on these things because what is the quote? What is it? The birds neither store up hay in this shed, but they're still fed, something like that. I can't think of the scripture right now, but just not overly focusing on those things. We work hard. We're really appreciative. I think that it helps me in my training so much too, because every morning I wake up, even as a 35-year-old guy, I feel so young and I feel so grateful to be able to wake up, to be so fit, to be full of energy, to spend my time around young guys who are really grinding out here and to pour into them as they pour into me. Man, I feel like the Lord just set up like this crazy storyline for it. So super, super blessed. And man, again, my whole identity is just focused in what Christ and who he says I am.
Wow, man, what a dope message right there. That was really cool to hear that. I appreciate you sharing that. I know a lot of journalists aren't just going to come on here and, have somebody talk about their faith, but anytime I know a fighter comes on here and they are, a Christian and they've got a strong faith, I always have to ask that question, especially if it's their first time coming on. So, Marcus, I appreciate you sharing that message. As Christians, we all have our different views, of what God does for us in life. So it's really cool to hear from your perspective of what he's doing, not only with you, but with your family and everybody else around you as well, and how he's impacted you guys in a positive way. So that was really cool to hear that, man. I appreciate you sharing your message on that.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking about that because it's crazy. That's not something that we like to put up on the front burner most of the time. But I feel like creating the space like where that's something that we value and that we make more normalized as well. I think it also comes to the fact that we all know we're so imperfect too. So when you start talking about Jesus, everyone's like, "Oh, he thinks he's better than everybody else," It's like, no, I'm a sinner. You know what I'm saying? Jesus came to save the sinners because the physician or they're going to help the sick, and I'm sick and I know who I am. I'm not saying I'm better, I'm saying I'm worse, and only through the blood of Jesus Christ have I been sanctified and remade, you know what I'm saying? So like it's great when I do get to ask those questions, and that they get highlighted too, because again, I think it should be something that's more normalized, you know what I'm saying? Is having faith and knowing that it's in higher things.
Yeah, amen, brother. I couldn't have said it better myself right there. I 100% agree. We're all sinners out here, but if you got the Lord with you and you pray every night, He's gonna get you to. You'll get with Him one day, and that's really all that matters. That's why we're living. So I really appreciate the message right there, bro, and I couldn't agree anymore. But Marcus, we're not gonna let you get off this interview, bro, without doing any rapid fire questions. I do my own research. So we got to have some fun rapid fire to end the interview here. So my first one for you is, I know you're born in Detroit. You're currently at the lab in Arizona. So are you going with Michigan or are you going with Arizona?
Oh, Arizona for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm an Arizona. I always say, yeah, I was born in Detroit and all that, but I'm an Arizona boy. I've been out here since I was 5 years old. Honestly, I don't plan on leaving. I want to own property and real estate and all different types of places, but Arizona is home for me.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I mean, there's so many MMA fighters that live in Arizona. So, like, I think it's kind of hard for people. Maybe I'm wrong because I've never been to Arizona personally, but like, I feel like from anybody I've talked to in Arizona, once they've gotten there, they're not leaving. Like, you're not leaving Arizona, especially if you come from Detroit. I mean, I've got family up in Michigan. I'm a Michigan football fan. It's cold as shit up there, dude. So if you go somewhere like Arizona, a little bit better weather, maybe a little bit more things to do. Not a heavy winter or anything like that. So Arizona seems dope as shit, man. So I'd love to get out there one day for sure. For
Heck yeah,
sure.
hopefully 2026, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. We got to do it. I've been to Michigan before, obviously with the fam, but we got to travel a little bit. We got to get more out west.
100%.
Unfortunately, actually, I'll just go off topic here. The furthest west I've ever been is Kansas City. That's
Oh
only
man,
yeah, man. I know.
that's
I've
not
only
even west.
I know that's what I'm saying, bro. I'm actually getting on well, I guess I'll tell people this too that are watching this. I'm getting on a plane for the first time next week. I'm going to New York. So I don't like heights, bro. I don't mess with it at all. But if we want to do certain things in life and get to experience certain things, I'm gonna have to grow some balls and get on a plane eventually. So
100%. The more you
that's
do it, the
just how.
more it'll become normal too.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do next week. I might have to be on some meds. I might have to, have a drink or two before I get on there to ease me. I don't know. We
Yeah.
gotta do something though, bro. I don't think I'm able to get on there and just, be not tripping at all. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. As long as God's got me, bro, we're gonna be all right. So that's
100%.
about
And
that.
he does. He always does. So
Yeah, bro. Go be praying the whole time we're on that flight for sure, man. But my next one, Marcus, I'm glad you brought it up earlier with the merge and talk about skateboarding. Anybody that follows you on social media knows that one of your favorite hobbies, if not your favorite hobby outside of the gym, is skateboarding. So, what is your favorite freestyle trick that you could do in skateboarding?
favorite trick. Oh, so I just got my fakie bigger flips back the other night. That was pretty cool. Like I threw like three of them and I started landing them every try. So that's pretty cool trick. I feel like I do nollie big hills. And I can do it that pretty big. I can do it down probably like even if I wanted to start throwing it down staircases, like 8 stairs, I probably could do that. So I think nollie big hill is probably like my go-to big trick. But I got a bunch of bangers, man. Nollie front heel flip, nollie backside flip. I got a bunch of fakes. I've switch front threes. I land switch front threes all the time. Like man, I got a pretty big bag, man. I'm just finally starting to get back into that bag.
That's awesome, bro. I'm sure you're gonna be making, some great content in 2026 with that as well, with the merge coming out. I can't wait to see the promo videos for the drops and stuff like that. That's going to be fantastic because I do peep it. I don't know too much about skateboarding. I played some game on the computer when I was a kid that had to do with skateboarding. I can't remember the name of it. Tony Hawk was on there, obviously. He's the GOAT of skateboarding. But yeah, no, I think that's really sick. And I think that's something unique that you're very good at that a lot of other people can't say they're good at because skateboarding, it is one of those sports where you're going to have to go through some pain to get good. I mean, you
Oh
can't
yeah.
just come out here and do trick. It's not like basketball. You just go in a gym, you shoot a shot and you miss. Okay, that's pain free. That's pain free. You got skateboarding and you mess up a trick, or you mess up, or whatever move you're trying to do. You might roll your ankle. Skateboard might clip you in the ankle. Like you're gonna fall. You're gonna bruise your arm up. Like there's so many things that can go on. So I got mad respect for people that do skateboarding. I think it's really cool whenever the X Games come on ESPN and you get to watch that stuff too because those guys are so talented. So can't wait to see those videos coming up for you, Marcus. It sounds like you're just going to continue to add to the bag, brother. So I can't wait to see that. Well, Marcus, my next one I got for you is, man, we are at the end of the year. So I think this is a valid question to ask right now. What is one global issue that's maybe going on right now or that's happened this year that you think people like should care about more, or maybe people should be feeling this way about this and it not be this way? Like, what's one thing that kind of sticks out to you that you wish that, people cared more about it? It could be UFC related as well. It doesn't have to just be in general.
No, right off the rip, it goes to, for me, man, it goes to, all the people that are being persecuted, all the Christians in particular are being persecuted in Africa. You know what I'm saying? So all that's going on, the genocide that's going on out there that has been going on for 20 years, it's crazy to me because I've heard about it for years and years, and you kind of stop hearing about it and you're like, oh, it must stopped. And it's like, no, it's just been continuing through
Yeah.
all these years, so I mean, that's the biggest thing, the fact that it gets no media play, that even when all these outlets are coming out with, oh, village of 300 women and children and men murdered, beheaded, thrown in freaking crazy things, like all this crazy stuff happened to them, and it doesn't even get one news clip, not on CNN, not on any of these clips, and it just blows me away that we're so quick to push it under the rug. And it makes me wonder why. So that's probably my biggest one, and it's controversial, but yeah, that's my biggest one for sure, bro. It trips me out that no one even talks about it, and that we're not more worried about what's going on over there.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that, I'm not like a big conspiracy theory guy or anything like that, but there's definitely stuff that isn't talked about that's going on in the world that is like kind of hidden from us. And that's not just, from like a TV perspective of, you grabbing the remote to turn on a TV. It's like from social media too, like, them pushing certain content to your feed based on like what you like and stuff like that. So I like that pick from you right there though, because that is a problem that is going on in Africa right now. But like, it's really not something until lately, like you've been seeing really any clips. And even then it's not getting
It's
the
not
attention.
getting any traction. It's not getting any traction. You start seeing these clips and it's like, oh, it's crazy. And then it's like you'll see other clips, 3 million likes, all these questions, and you'll see a clip like that, and it's all legit content, all legit everything, and you'll see like 24,000 likes, and it's just crazy to me. Like people just aren't concerned about it at all. And I mean, really, I don't think people start worrying about things until it starts showing up on our doorstep, which there's a lot of things that are starting to show up at our doorstep. And I think Americans are going to start, our way of life is going to start changing, and we're going to see more of these things that are happening up front that are really happening in other countries. We're going to see them, and we're going to realize what the real world is again, which, I mean, maybe we do need a little hit of that. I would hate to say that because, I don't think anybody deserves the things that are happening in the world right now, but we want to keep playing games, F around and find out.
Yeah, I could have said it more, man. Sometimes in life, when you F around, you really do find out. And hopefully it doesn't get to that situation. But I can definitely see what you just said coming up in 2026 and going beyond if we don't continue to get some certain things straight. But I guess my next one I got for you, Marcus, is obviously this year, whenever you fought Jan, you fought in the UAE. So is there a country, I know we talked about the land down under earlier. That's probably not a place you'd go to. Is there a country that off the top of your head, because I know, with this new Paramount deal, especially with, stuff opening up after COVID, I know Dana's really been trying to get into other countries. Is there a certain country off the top of your head that you would like to compete in one day?
Man, Spain sounds super dope. I always have loved the Asian culture. So Japan, China, any of that stuff, any of those places. I don't know if I have the etiquette to be around those areas. I'd have to learn laws and make sure I don't make mistakes out there. Because the lifestyle we live out here is completely different sometimes out there. But yeah, anywhere like that. That's I love the Asian culture. Also like what Swedish, Belgium, like Norway, all that type of stuff up there too, like the Viking Celtic area type area. That'd be sick as well to be around to go check that area out. And honestly, I love Australia too. I love the idea of Australia as well. I just hate the timing of it and then also the money that I'm gonna have to spend, to not only just for my taxes, but to get down there early so I can acclimate to their time. Airbnbs, anytime I have to drive around, whether I'm gonna have to get an Uber all the time or I'm gonna have to rent a car for my whole team, paying for flights for my whole team, all that stuff. Like my kids haven't been to any of my fights yet, so honestly, I'd rather fight in the U.S. if I can sometime soon. That'd be great, just to get my family and my fans to get to one of these shows because I haven't. I fought at the Apex, and then I fought in New York, then I fought in Dubai. Now I'm like, hey, it'd be cool to bring my kids to one of them. It'd be cool to, and then just fans, people here in Arizona want to come watch me fight. And it's hard to go travel across the world.
It definitely is, man. It absolutely is. And I don't know why the UFC hasn't gone back to Arizona yet. I know it's been a while, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
What was the last? I can't think off the top of my head when the last card was there, but it's been a few years.
I
I
feel like it
think.
was 2019, maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
I want to say like late, that 2010 to 2020 area, or maybe early 2020s. But I mean, you had COVID, so like, yeah, they need to get back out there though. That I mean, obviously the MMA fans are amazing in Arizona. You have so many great fighters like yourself out there. I think Arizona definitely has to be on the list for the UFC in 2026. So that'd be awesome to do that. Hopefully the family can get out there. But yeah, I'd like for you to personally fight in the U.S. too, so I can come watch you fight as well. I'm trying to get on the road and get to see all my buddies fight. So definitely want you here in the United States, but had to ask that question with the Paramount deal. And, Dana obviously looking to go to a lot of different countries coming up. But I guess my last one I got for you, Marcus, outside of yourself, because you're a very entertaining fighter yourself, man, who to you is the most entertaining guy in the UFC right now?
Most entertaining guy in the UFC right now. I mean, you got to put Ilya in that, right? Like the way he fights. I wouldn't even say like the things he says and all that stuff. He doesn't necessarily have the same type of charisma that Conor McGregor has, but the poise that he possesses when he enters that cage, you can't doubt him out. All the fighting nerds, all of them, they just have blown up. And they all have their own A-list. This is why, right? Rufy is his own person. Um, Chow is his own person, or Kyle Bahau is his own person. You have Practice is his own person. So it's cool to see that they're all from the same place, but their own person. Cool to see a gym get love like them too. So I'd say them as well. And then who else is like who else would I say? Let's throw Terrence McKinney in there, man. Like, bro,
Oh,
all his fights are freaking so exciting, bro. Win, lose, or draw, bro. So exciting, and the tenacity that he takes into fights with him, bro, you can feel it, you can see it, and it's dope. So it's like you can see, oh man, he's about to get active. I like that. So
that's what it's so funny. And I know you've been around Terrence before, so you've got a relationship with him as well. But one of the things I took away from my trip with him to Orlando a few weeks ago is he goes, Max, why the hell would I go fight, for money for me and my family and leave that up to three people to decide that? Why would I let that happen? He's like, I'm gonna go out there and do it, or I'm gonna go out there trying to do it. So I just think that's a hilarious quote from him. Dude's awesome. I actually was watching a podcast earlier today from a guy called We Want Picks. His name's Angelo. They've got a pretty big following. I think they've got like 40,000 subscribers, something like that on YouTube. And he goes, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Terrence McKinney's the best fighter in the world for the first 2 minutes of any fight. He's the best fighter in the world for the first 2 minutes of any fight he gets in. He's like, nobody else can do what he does. But he's like, after that, it just kind of depends on where he's at with cardio and stuff. But really hope Terrence gets the W tomorrow night. I love those picks right there from you. I completely agree with Ilya. You already know he's going to put on a banger. Terrence obviously gets, stuff done quickly, especially since he went to Orlando. He's been getting some dubs. And yeah, the fighting nerds are awesome. Carlos Prates is probably my favorite fighter in the UFC that does not follow me or I've never spoken to before. That dude's hilarious, and he seems like he'd be an awesome guy to party with. So I love those picks up there from you, Marcus. I couldn't agree more with those. But obviously, you're up there as well as an entertaining fighter with the amount of finishes you have, brother. But Marcus, unfortunately, I have got to my final question. I ask every single active fighter this before they get off here. What is the final message to the fans tuning into this interview right now to continue to watch your journey inside the UFC?
Final message is don't blink. Like I'm putting in tons of work. And again, I want to get back to my finishing ways. I think that I'm the most dangerous when I'm looking to go out there and finish guys. And I'm a cerebral guy too. So, just keep on the lookout. Hopefully I get something lined up here soon. And then past all of that, Jesus is king. Get into those books. Those books should not be sitting on the shelf collecting dirt. We need to get back collecting dust. We need to get back into the book, start reading God's word, and start applying it to our lives. And that's the most important thing in any of our lives, no matter what we're doing. We got to get out of this busy type of mentality and get back into the Bible. So, keep God first, get into that Bible above all.
Absolutely, bro. I appreciate that final message right there, Marcus. I appreciate you coming on here today to chat with me. Make sure you guys follow Marcus at the Instagram tag below. We already put it across the screen for about 10 minutes. So make sure you guys follow him. He's got a huge year coming up in 2026. But Marcus, once again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, brother. This was a dope chat, probably one of the better ones I've ever had. And we'd love to get you back on here before you get that fight with, obviously you're probably going to be fighting in February from what it sounds like. So we'd love to get you back on here before that, brother.
Heck yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so once I get locked in, I'll hit you up and we'll jump back on and go over the picks and everything like that. And definitely chop it up again, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Marcus McGhee, everybody. Make sure you guys tune in. Make sure you guys follow him. And we'll see you guys next time on Hawk Sports. We appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in. Peace.